Well, welcome back to Hot Rod Guy Garage. And today we're going to have something special going on this episode. So, there has been a car that I have chased since, you know, I have been driving. So, you know, my 70 Torino was my first car, but there was something else I always wanted. And at this point, thanks to a real good friend of mine, I have one sitting here. So, it needs a lot of work, but I've got one. So stick around with me through the intro and I'll show you what we got. So guys, it's like 7 o'clock on a Tuesday afternoon, which, it's late for me to be here at the shop. So what could a man that has two Torinos and a bunch of Geo Metros would be so-called a unicorn, right? So it's something special. Uh, so enough kind of bantering around about it. I'm going to flip the camera around. I'm going to show it to you. Now, keep in mind, we have done nothing but unload this thing off the trailer and kind of dug through some parts that were inside it. So, what we have here is a 1984 SVO Mustang. And a lot of you will see that it's pretty rough up here in the front end. We're missing an inner marker light and stuff. But it is a complete car. Now, not everything's on the car, but everything's in the car. But the good thing about it, it is a Southern car, so it is not rusty. And it still has the Recaros in it. It still has a Hurst shifter in it. I checked that. Factory steering wheel. All the bezels and stuff. And the door panels are in the back seat. And the seats are pretty nice in it. And still has the spats, the rocker moldings inside the car. Still got most of the special stuff. The only thing that the car does not have with it, somebody had stuck Fox body control arms and spindles on it, but all the factory stuff was in the trunk. Somebody has swapped the taillights out to the regular 84 through 86 taillights. These actually had little black stripes like a 93 Cobra. But factory air box and all that stuff's back here in the hatch, along with the door handles and all that other stuff. Kind of a shame they cut the rear panels, but it's going to be quite the project. Under here, it does have a cold air intake pipe and a bypass valve, but other than that, it's pretty stock other than that MSD coils hanging out over there. It's got some rat's nest wiry things that we'll have to address here the next day or two, but it even still has the hood mat. So it's a fairly unmolested car, other than they put that regular Fox body front spindles and control arms on it, which makes the wheels sunk way in on the front. But pretty good straight car. So that gives you kind of the gist of what it is and what kind of shape it's in. It is not a super nice car, but it is a pretty decent car. Unfortunately, these do not bring the money that a regular Fox body Mustang brings. So they were kind of neglected over the years, even though they were very cool cars. A lot of people expect stuff like this to be fast, and while they are pretty quick cars, these were a handling car, not a drag race car. So, different stuff for different purposes. I am going to run a Marty report on it and see if there's anything rare about this car before I make a plan. Which it is rare in the Fox Body Mustang world. A lot of people prefer the 85.5 and 86 cars because they had the flush mounted headlights. I like the 84 and the early 85 cars that had the recessed headlights. So I have specifically hunted one of these cars for a long time. And I missed out on quite a few over the years, and one of them here just recently. So I finally got one. Don't know what I'm going to do with it, but we got to get this thing running and driving. Most because it's here at the shop, and you can't live here at the shop. So we got some work to do. So let's see what the rest of the week brings. I'll pop back in this video, and we'll go from there.
The next day.
Well, guys, it's day 2, and it's early morning here at the shop. And before I get started working on normal shop stuff, I figured I'd come in here and fix some of this jacked up wire and stuff. Just kind of expedite this process. So I'll flip this around and I'll show you what I'm dealing with. So some idiot, had all the alternator stuff all wired all janky. Not even necessarily to the voltage regulator down there, but to other stuff on the harness, and the alternator charge wires melted here. So, the injector harness, it was pretty ugly, which I know I just taped this up, but I had to replace those 2 wires in it. And over here at our OBD1 connector, let's just say that, we got some insulation gone and some kind of janky stuff going on there too. So I've just been going in here and I'm trying to kind of make sure the car's not going to burn down when put power to it. So maybe by the end of the day we'll have maybe we'll start it. But it's got all kinds of naked hot wire stuff, and this is to the fan. So I assume the factory fan switch is bad or not hooked up. They clean this up, put a little POR15 on it. But, there's just stuff kind of, everywhere, especially localized over here near the battery area. So the main goal is just to make sure the car don't catch on fire and put power on it. We did put power on it temporarily yesterday, and I smelled a little warm wire stuff. So, that's something that's got to be addressed ASAP. Then maybe we can dig a little bit deeper in this car. Still seems kind of surreal to me. I know it's kind of a rough old junky car, but it's been something I've been looking for. So I guess I need to get busy. That way I can get my real day started and, move on from there. Well, it's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and, I put a battery in the car, one out of the Vitara, and it does run, not well. So I spent most of the day, troubleshooting. Still had the original plug wires on it. So I pulled the stripper cap, made sure it looked okay. I put a set of used plug wires on it and started it back up, and it still run kind of bad. Let it run about 5 minutes and the converter started glowing. So I got up in there and cut the downpipe off the converter and cut a section of pipe out so it could breathe. Still didn't run much better. Now it does run okay for about 20 seconds when you start it. It has had the tank changed in it, and it's had fuel pumps put in it. So somebody put some effort into it to try to get running. But a couple of things that I noticed about this car, and it being an 84 SVO, is it should have a small vane air meter. This car has a large vane air meter on it. So I'm going to assume it has 36-pound injectors also. So to swap to that stuff, what you would have to do, you would have to repin this car for an LA3 ECM or an LA2. But so I did notice it has a factory computer and it's loose here on the floor. I'll show that to you right now. So the TE computer is the factory ECM for an 84 SVO. So this is a small vane aerator 30-pound injector ECM. So I went in here and I checked these wires to see how they're pinned. And if you'll notice, first thing off, the top black cover here is gone. So somebody's been in here, and this computer was literally laying on the floor before. So I went in here and checked the pin out for the LA3 ECM, and you end up with some blank spaces with the SVO harness for the factory ECM pinouts. So this harness has been repinned for an LA2 or LA3 ECM. So basically what it's done, it pretty much don't know it has a vane air meter on it at all. So this right here is our smoking gun to why the car kind of runs poorly. So at this point, to go any further, I really need an LA2 or LA3 ECM to finish troubleshooting the running issue with it. Now, my big goal was I was going to get this car running pretty well so I could move it out of the shop. So it does run well enough it can be moved. I think it may also have a camshaft in it. So it just idles awful smooth with a low P idle, even though it is rich. But until I get an ECM, I can't verify that, or I'll have to pull the throttle body and the valve cover off of it. But it does have a forced 4 intake pipe and a bypass valve and a old school Gillis boost controller on it and a 3-inch exhaust along with an MSD coil. So somebody has been messing with this car a little bit. Now, it looks like it's been a bunch of years since somebody cared about it, but hopefully it does have cam in it. You know, who knows at this point, but I've not cleaned on it. I've not done nothing else but, what I covered in the earlier part of this video where I just fixed some of the wiring problems that I've seen. So what I have done in between that section and this section is I did go in here and check all the voltages on all my sensors and stuff. And there's some stuff screwy, and it being repinned is why it's screwy. So let's see if it'll start up again. I'll run here for a few seconds and I'll cut it off. So, rich or not, it does sound like it has a camshaft in it. And, for the first little while it runs, like when I started there, it's rough when you first start it. And then it smooths up a little bit and it revs fine. So, I don't know. There's a lot of unknowns about the car. And, this is like anytime you get something like this, you don't know anything about it. So you have to kind of try to figure it out for yourself. But so far for the investment, it seems like a good buy. Now, keep in mind these cars are worth more in the sum of their parts than they are as a whole, and that's pretty sad. But, here we are at this point. I do have a car that runs, and I can move it out of the shop, and that's what's important. So, guys, if you like this project, make sure you like this video and, comment down below. And if you're not a subscriber and you're watching this video, I'd appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button also, because it helps the channel to grow. So I think at this point, I'm going to call it a day on this car and move on to something else. And I might get it out tomorrow or something if it's warm. And I might clean it up a little bit because it looks pretty poor. And most of that's because it's really dirty. So, that's step one usually on me. When I get a car, even if it don't run, I'll clean it up first. But, since it was already in the shop, and we got it in here last night, I figured I'd better try to get it running first. So, it looks like I got stuff all over my face. Probably been there all day. I had to check the video footage when I get back home. But I went ahead it's getting later in the day at this point. It's almost 5 o'clock. It's fixing to start getting dark. But I went ahead and drove this thing out of the shop and gave it the old, degreaser bath. I went and sweep the floor up under it because there's some stuff on the ground. So I'll flip this around and I'll be right back. So looks a lot better clean. But, other than some, missing paint and some crusty stuff here and there, looks pretty decent. But the car, with it wet, actually looks pretty decent. So, did notice it's got kind of a weird, like, I know you can't really see it here, but it's almost like it's got a green metallic in the paint. So, I don't know. So guys, I know this video is kind of a train wreck, but I was kind of excited last night, even though it don't sound like I did. I'm literally this tone 90% of the time. So, got the car kind of cleaned up. I'm going to sweep the floor here at the shop. Let me know if you want to see episode 2 on this car. So, basically, I'm going to clean shop, get this car back in here, and I'm going to go to the house. Because I was here late last night, and I don't want to be here late tonight. So, until next time, guys, I'll see you at the next video. Thanks for watching.